Trigun Stampede is like the Ted Bundy of the Trigun universe.
Welcome to the Wordy Pair Podcast, your go-to hub for all things writing, world building, and the occasional dive into the weird and wonderful world of fiction. We're breaking down the barriers between you and your next great story. Whether you're a seasoned scribe or just scribbling your first sentences, we've got something for you. We'll be discussing everything from crafting compelling characters to dissecting the good, the bad, and the downright bizarre in the world of fiction. Okay, this script says you guys are eccentric. Isn't that just a 3-syllable word for weird? No offense. So, whether you're in need of inspiration, a good laugh, or just a couple of weirdos to keep you company on your writing journey, you're in the right place. Thanks for tuning in to the Wordy Pair Podcast.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Wordy Pair Podcast. As always, I'm Rudy.
And I'm furious.
And I was furious a week ago, but I'm a little less furious now, just very sad. This is going to be a sad episode of the Wordy Pair Podcast, everyone.
Get
because
your depression glasses on.
Yeah, not just depression glasses, but like your like anti-violation glasses. Like, you don't want, like, okay. So I'm just gonna say it. We're talking about Trigun Stampede, because Trigun, the original animated series from 2003, is an absolute masterpiece. And Trigun Stampede is like the Ted Bundy of the Trigun universe.
The Ted Bundy.
It systematically violates and kills everything that made Trigun good. And I've got 2 pages of points here to go through, and you've watched one episode of it, and I've suffered through the whole series. And then, just in the last week, I've rewatched the original series because, well, that series is fantastic, and I really should rewatch it more often than I have been.
We call it a palate cleanser.
In the sense that an angle grinder can be a palate cleanser, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I just, right before we did this, I just watched the first episode.
Yep.
And let me tell you, brother, I came upstairs to come here and sit and do this with you from a basement. I came upstairs from a basement. And there was a knock at the door. It was Girl Scouts selling cookies. And
they're all dead.
I was banging the head of one off of my desk as I called you and said, yeah, I'm ready to record. So there you go. That's what that did to me.
Yeah, it's an underwhelming response that you've had, but it's in the normal range. We'll put it that way. I believe that the first words out of my mouth when I finished watching the first episode were, quote, "What the fuck?"
I kept hearing. In my head, as I was watching it, I kept hearing the voice actor for the Team 4-star Dragon Ball Z abridged parody.
Yeah.
The voice actor for Vegeta in my head saying, "What am I watching?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad.
What is this?
And the first episode actually wasn't that bad, because it ruined only a few small things.
Those were small things that it ruined?
Yes.
All right, let me stop you right there.
Okay.
I need to, because I a little bit of a tangent here, but okay, apart from the show being incredibly ugly, why did they insist on Disneyfying all of the expressiveness in the characters' faces?
So that was one of the points I was going to make, is that they Disneyfied Meryl hardcore, and it's really sad.
Yeah, Meryl especially. Meryl's face, it was just like, I'm watching, and it wasn't even like Disneyfied like modern Disney. It was like old school Disneyfied, and I'm just like, that is a cool style, but that's not what we're here for. Yeah. And it doesn't fit the rest of the ugly show.
Well, it's ugly, but it also looks like it cost a huge amount of money to make.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a thing that Japan's been doing a lot in these shows recently.
But at the same time, the level of detail and the amount of stuff on screen, and like, the effects of like sand and stuff like that are all very, very meticulously done. Like there definitely was a huge budget put into making this show look the way it looks, which is kind of surprising because the original series, Trigun, had pretty poor animation except for a few key scenes. Like, it was mediocre most of the time. Sometimes it would drop into the, ooh, what's going on here? Actually, pretty frequently it would drop into the, ooh, what's going on here? But 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times throughout the series, it would stop and it would slow down and it would get very, very detailed and very, very well set, well created, storyboarded, whatever. And it would just give you this little sequence of such gorgeous animation that you would be unlike it's the kind of thing that just sticks with you for forever. The point in episode 5 or 6 where Vash dashes out in front of that spinning fist of Gofsef to stop it by directing it out of the way. Like, the animation in those 15 seconds are the kind of thing that you remember forever. It's like, wow, I can't believe they packed that much into that short of a time and made it that amazing. This show, on the other hand, took all of the things and made them ugly, and then managed to also appear so detailed that that they spent an inordinate amount of money on that animation, and to a very poor end, because it still has that same problem that CGI animation has, where the frame rate doesn't feel like it matches. This is something that was really bad back in the day, where there would be like CGI extras on the back of the background of the shot, and you could tell that they were not filmed at the same frame rate as the rest of the animation. But then they did everything like that in this show, and everything feels like it's just like, instead of 24 frames per second, it feels like it's 23 frames per second. And it's just enough that you notice it, where you're like, oh, this is a little less smooth than it would be if someone actually, sat down and drew it, and animated it like real people that do work do. But yeah, no, I mean, we could spend probably an hour alone just talking about the visual problems in character designs, in, stuff like that. We want to try to focus on the writing and the way that they have violated every aspect of Trigun in Stampede. So, I don't know. Where do you want to go with this first?
Well, before we get to that, I think I'm just going to sum up a lot of the visual detail by saying that this type of anime is the type of anime that older anime looks at and feels and has that uncanny valley feeling while watching. Mm-hmm. It doesn't feel real. The characters are way too overexpressive for what this is. I mean, if it was Looney Tunes, it might make sense for how much facial movement there is, or for how much gesticulation there is. There's a lot of facial movement and gesticulation in anime even the
original Trigun goes super deformed in a lot of times. Like, Vash is super deformed a lot.
But this was endless, and it was just like, this isn't the style of what they're presenting isn't fitting the style of the show.
Right.
Like, I'm just trying to think if in Schindler's List everyone was doing the funny walk from the Monty Python sketch. Yeah. That's kind of what this feels like when you watch it,
Yeah.
As far as the writing goes, now it has been long enough
we'll get there. I have a checklist that goes through the whole series. Don't worry about it.
Oh, excellent. Let's talk about that first episode then. I think that's a good place to start.
Well, let's start for a second with character designs. Just Vash.
No. Let's start with character absences.
Okay.
I don't know what the deal is with this Roberto dude that they shoved in there, but
Robert De Niro. That's his name.
His name is Robert De Niro?
Yeah, if you look in the credits, his name is Roberto De Niro. De Niro.
And was he in the comic anywhere? Because I never read the comic.
I haven't read the comic either. I think they made him up for this show.
Okay, and he was the replacement for Millie, who was...
No, sort of. It's worse than that.
It's worse than that. Okay.
It's worse than that.
Yeah. So, characters. Meryl Streif, she is introduced in this version. No. Let's jump back to the past. Meryl Streif is introduced in the original show with her partner Millie, showing up, both career women ready to tackle a job and presenting themselves as such, and through the brief explanations of why they're visiting certain places and what they're doing and their communication with each other, we get a very good idea of, okay, they're here to check on these insurance claims and see what's going on. And, of course, they have, like, their comedic attributes that make the show a little less serious, which is, what Trigun is. It's serious when it needs to be serious.
Yeah. I mean, the first half of the original Trigun is hilarious. It is 2 to 3 laugh-out-loud moments per episode. And even when it gets serious, there's still usually 1 or 2 good enough gags per episode that you smile and or chuckle. Even when the show's trying to be serious. It is a brilliantly written comedy.
And they try to... It's one of those things where the people that make the new thing are trying to do the same thing, but they have to do it differently because, by all means, why remake something just to remake it? We have to make something new that the author didn't write, allegedly. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if the author actually wrote this or not, but like you said...
I don't think he did. His name...
Yeah.
I believe the creator of Trigun is named Yasuhiro Naito. I think that's his name, or at least his pen name. I could be wrong about that, but his name appears in the credits once as creator of the original work, and nowhere else as far as I can tell. He's not a producer, he's not in the writing team, he's not in the animation team, he's not in character designs, he's not in mechanical designs. As far as I can tell.
Yeah, so going from the past to the future, we take these two well, let's just stick with Meryl because Millie is missing. We have this insurance investigator.
Yeah.
And we turn her into a newbie reporter for the purpose of presenting her character as not a professional career woman who knows her job inside and out and knows what needs to be done, but instead is just getting started and has this mentor hovering over her that is talking down to her. And
mentor is a really strong word.
Well, I've seen one episode. That's what it looked like to me. She has this lofty idea that she's going to be the head of the reporting desk one day and she's going to get some big scoop, and that's why she's out there.
Her goal is to get a scoop of Vash the Stampede. Right? That's their plan.
Was that the goal?
Yeah. They're gonna get an article written on Vash the Stampede.
I don't know, because like after the first 2 minutes, I was just sitting there like, okay, so in the other show, I got to see her march in and figure out what it was that she was about by watching her play a part in the story.
Yeah.
And in the first episode of this, I got to see her march in and explain to the audience, almost looking directly at them. Like I could picture her just like with a black background, staring directly at you from the screen and saying, I am a person who aspires to be a big-time reporter and the head of a reporting desk at some time, and that is why I am here. And then the show continues. It may as well have just been that.
Well, no, that would have been better, because what we get instead is an extended dialogue between her and we're going to call him Downer De Niro. And
Downer.
he just rags on her constantly and is extremely pessimistic about everything and doesn't really care about doing a good job either. And so, like, yeah, there's no motivation here to have a good professional character as, like, a storyteller, you know?
You mean he doesn't become a gripping character as the story goes on? Some kind of laid-back figure who... No, okay.
No, he just gets more and more depressing.
I mean, in and of itself, that wouldn't be bad if there was, like, some development there, but... So he's exactly the same as I saw him in the first episode by the end of the show.
No, he gets worse. He gets more and more depressing and nonsensical. Yeah.
Well, that's... Okay, then. My mistake. I'm so angry right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is on a level of annoyance that I haven't felt in a long time. I'm trying to think of any kind of remake I've seen recently that was as aggravating as this one, because Trigun is legend.
Yes.
Trigun is one of those shows that, if not for this show, anime might not be as big as it is now, or certainly might have needed a little more time to develop much as it.
It was one of the first box sets I ever bought on DVD, sight unseen. I was just like, Trigun, I'm gonna buy this and watch it, and it remains one of my prized possessions to this very day. That I have, the original 8-disc gigantic box set of Trigun. And
I mean, back in the day, I bought one of the laser discs for it just because it was there. I was like, "That's a Trigun laser disc. I'm going to buy that."
Yeah, you buy it because it's that good. And I've never regretted, spending $140 on those 8 DVDs, which was a lot of money when I was 12, 13, 14, 15.
That was a lot of money when you were 12.
Yeah.
That would have been after you were 12, though. Trigun came out when we were about 17. Well, you might have been 16.
Yeah, so there must be like a re-versioning of it or something that was made, because I just recently rewatched the original series on a streaming service, and it says 2003 on it. And I know that it came out before 2003 because I bought it while I was still in high school.
That's actually kind of weird. I don't remember it being 2003 either. That was definitely a... Okay, I'm looking it up. We're doing the internet thing. Yeah. I am looking up Trigun. We'll just hit up Wikipedia here. And we will say that...
Original one, No, that's the manga. Anime TV. 1998, yeah.
Yeah, 1998 sounds about it. That's when everything came out. I think that's when the One Piece manga started.
Could be.
But it was pretty contemporary with Cowboy Bebop, and most people looked at it as like the other big show of that era that was, considered one of the huge classics.
Yeah.
It never quite had the notoriety of Cowboy Bebop, but everyone remembers it.
Sure.
Even if they didn't see it, they would recognize the character because he was everywhere. People used to go to I remember going to anime conventions and seeing people dressed up as Vash the Stampede or Alucard, and we would always say, hey, that's a nice Carmen Sandiego costume.
Right. Should we take a short digression into character design right now? Because I want to talk about this.
Yeah, let's talk about character design.
Because they have ruined... And we're just going to start with Vash, because we haven't introduced anything else later on. We'll do another one on Wolfwood later on. Because you haven't seen Wolfwood yet, right?
No, because he's not in the first episode. But
he's not.
There is one thing I do want to say about Vash. I don't think this will trample anything you have to say, but maybe.
Go for it.
Who knows?
Yeah.
The original show introduces you to the character of Vash the Stampede in his fully developed, matured form in the show.
Yeah.
And he is met by the other characters that he interacts with. The new show opens with you seeing a lot of what was supposed to be the mystery of the original show.
Yes.
And seeing Vash and how he acts at a younger age, which is something that, that's left to the imagination for the most part in the original show.
Well, it's a crucial part of the plot development, because he has memory issues through most of the original series, or at least he claims to, right? And then we get fed little bits of his youth and his growth period, bit by bit, to see how, his situations affected his growth as a character. It's a crucial part of both his silliness and his mystique, because like the first few episodes of the original Trigun, he doesn't actually ever declare that he's Vash the Stampede. Other people do it for him.
Yeah, and in fact, part of
the joke is that he never says, "I'm Vash the Stampede" at the very beginning. Other people assume that he is, or other people declare him to be Vash the Stampede. But he doesn't really... And like, if someone else claims to be Vash the Stampede in his presence, he's kind of like, no, what? What are you talking about, right? But, like... So part of the mystery, and part of the reason that the first few episodes of Trigun are so good, is because part of it is, Meryl and Millie trying to figure out who Vash the Stampede is, and continuously running into him, and, seeing bizarre event after bizarre event happen, and, he just kind of does these amazing things every time, and they're like, could it really be? No, it couldn't be him. Well, what about this? I mean, this was kind of, no, it couldn't be him. Look at him.
It's one of the best things about the early part of the show is that
Yeah.
you know, as the audience, that he is Vash the Stampede.
Yeah.
But you're also not really supposed. It's like wrestling. You're not supposed to admit that to yourself just yet,
Right.
because Millie and Meryl haven't gotten there yet. And even though you know there's crazy stuff happening around him, and he has to be Vash the I mean, he's the guy on the cover.
Right.
You get to watch Meryl slowly come to the conclusion that, oh, I guess he might be Vash the Stampede, even though the whole time she's watching him, she's like, there's no friggin' way this guy is Vash the Stampede. It's just,
well,
no,
like
that's
the
nonsense.
moment that shows her that he is Vash the Stampede is like one of the most pivotal moments of the series. It's the fight with the Nebraska family. And it's like that's one of the most amazing episodes of television that's ever been produced. Like it's mind-blowingly amazing. But no, you're right. We get him going after Knives from the very beginning of this show, and
Who
by
is
the
also
way,
supposed to be a mystery throughout most of the show.
it's a mystery to everybody, including Vash to a certain degree, for part of the series, because there are parts of his memory that seem to get unlocked later in the series, and he's like, oh yeah, I really do need to get onto this mission. I can't just lounge around, right? But no, he's up against Knives from the very beginning. We know who Knives is. They tell us who Knives is. And not only that, but they call him Nye over and over again throughout this series. And it's like, I realize that the word knives can be a little difficult for a Japanese person to pronounce. But turning him into Nye is even dumber.
Well, while that's true,
Yeah.
it's overshadowed by the dumbness of the way everything is presented in the show.
Oh, sure.
They tell you everything at the. I mean, they get Vash coming into a bar and
Oh,
everyone's
no,
saying,
no. They don't tell you everything. It gets worse. You have no idea
so
how much
they
worse
invent
it
new
gets.
things, huh?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, they systematically violate and kill everything that was important to the original series. Everything. I'm just going to give you a taste. You know, Vash's gun?
Yeah.
You know what Vash's gun was in the original Trigun?
I know what all three of Vash's guns were.
Well, no, but I mean, like, do you know where it came from?
Hang on, remembering. I also have the Vash the Stampede memory. I don't.
Okay. So Vash's gun
wasn't it what's her name's gun or
No.
apart from?
No. It was made by Knives, and Knives' intent on making it for Vash was for him and Vash to go and use those guns to destroy the entirety of humanity.
Ah.
And it's
How did I
not just a
forget that?
gun. It's a thing that allows him to manifest his power as a plant, which is a geoplant, which is what he is. He's a humanoid geoplant. Him and Knives.
Well, hang on. Is that like his handgun that he keeps in a holster?
Yeah, his
Is that
handgun.
the one?
Yeah, the gun.
That particular gun? I would have thought that. So, like, his third gun wasn't the one that. I guess that wouldn't make sense either.
Third gun? I
Yeah,
mean, he has the arm gun, and then he gets the replacement arm gun, and then he has the silver revolver that he uses throughout the whole series.
No, he has three guns. That's why it's called Trigun. Or did I make that mistake and see? Is that what happened to the handgun? The revolver that he has, does it become that third gun?
There is
am
no
I
third
remembering?
gun.
There is a third gun.
No, there's not. Not in the animated series.
He has the handgun, the hand that turns into the gun, and then his whole arm turns into a gun.
So that
Like the second gun. The second gun is the one where his hand drops down and grabs onto the
No.
gun that's in his...
No, because he has the revolver, and the revolver is the thing that allows him to produce plant energy. That's the angel gun, the angel arm gun thing, for his right arm, right? Then his left arm, he starts out with a very, very primitive pistol, or a very primitive gun as part of that is a replacement for his arm, and then later in the series he gets that mechanical arm replaced with a better mechanical arm. If there are 3, those are the 3.
That must be it then. I mean, that was why it was called Trigun. I have to look that up too.
I don't know about that, but like, anyway.
Yeah, the main silver gun, the mechanical arm gun, and the angel arm. Those are the 3 guns.
The angel arm is the revolver.
Okay, so it just turns into that then.
Yeah, you get to see it happen in gory detail. But there are 2 different mechanical arm guns.
All right, so it's I don't know, a quad gun.
Well, no, I mean the angel arm gun is not a separate gun.
We're going to count it as one because otherwise the name doesn't make sense. The
name doesn't have to make sense.
It really doesn't.
It doesn't. No, but like, look. The point I'm trying to make that you're at pains to head off.
We need the distraction.
Is that the revolver is this special thing that Knives made that enables him to make those gigantic energy blasts. If he didn't have that, he wouldn't be able to do it. So,
okay.
In Trigun Stampede, he also has a gun. Where did that gun come from?
Well, I would assume that he would have gotten it from Knives.
Nope. There's a scene where when he was still fairly young, he kind of tracks down Knives, and Knives is working with a bunch of humans, which is already a breaking of his character. Knives is working with a bunch of random humans to do stuff with plants, and that gun is just a random gun that some chump who was working with Knives had.
Isn't that what they did that everyone made fun of in the Solo movie?
Yes, that is exactly where I was going with that. The gun is nothing.
How are they letting these people write stories? Who is allowing this to happen? This is like some kind of syndicate mob boss stuff going on. This is a conspiracy on a grander scale.
It is a Ted Bundying of all that makes Trigun good. I've already said it.
You have already said it.
So, like I said, I just want to get to a quick little character design thing about Vash that I think is not directly related to writing, but if you're writing, you do have to design characters, and they have to have characteristics. And so,
that would help.
I think this is worth looking at real quick. Okay, number 1. They removed Vash's spiky hair. He now has like a front-going emo 1990s blonde hair cut. That is not.
Yes, it was criminal. They even taunted you with it by showing his wanted poster with him with spiky hair.
Yes, and they continue to call him Needle Noggin throughout the show, even though he doesn't have needly hair anymore.
What?
Yeah, it was something that like Wolf would call him a lot. Like, I believe in Japanese it was like Tongari or something like that. And it's always translated in English as Needle Noggin. And they keep calling him that throughout the Japanese, throughout Stampede, when it's not even true.
Like, it makes 0 sense now.
It makes absolutely 0 sense, yeah. So there's that. That's
Don't they know how a nostalgic callback works?
No, they don't. Clearly they don't. We're going to get to it.
Good Lord.
But again, their goal wasn't to do nostalgic callbacks. Their goal was to violate and kill all nostalgic callbacks. So,
well, that makes it worse
2.
because that means they don't know why he was being called Needle Noggin, and therefore
correct.
They were just like, oh well, that's what he was called here, so we're just going to use it.
Yeah, exactly. Number 2, Vash's glasses. They had a partial metal frame that had a very distinctive W shape on the earpieces, and they were small. They were not much larger than his eyes in the original series. In this one,
yes,
they get rid of the metal frame, which means that they would be breaking in every single fight. They get rid of the W-shaped thing on the earpieces, I believe. Pretty sure. And also they make the lenses so large that he looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo.
You know what? You're right.
Yes, I am.
That haircut doesn't help much either.
No, it does not. Number 3, Vash's coat. In the original series, It was a red duster. And the reason that it's a duster is because a duster is designed to keep the dust off of you and the sun off of you while you're in a desert, while not actually trapping too much heat. It's the kind of coat that has a lot of flaps and a lot of open spaces where air can pass through. In Trigun Stampede, it is a winter coat, like the kind of thing that you would put on someone who was traveling to the Arctic. And it's still red, but it's a winter coat. And there's a second problem with this, in that a duster typically has movable parts that, because it was designed for people who were out in the Old West and actually doing real cowboy stuff back in the day, would have flaps and stuff so that you could get to your holster in an emergency. The winter coat has no such flaps. It literally has a zipper up and down the middle of it, and is basically a cylinder if you were to zip it up. And so it also would interfere with anyone's ability to actually use a gun with it.
And I think you can understand. That's what I was going to say before I stopped myself, was about the coat.
Yeah,
I think you can understand why that it enrages me so much. I mean, we have discussed certain things many times throughout these wonderful episodes, and one of them is a recurring subject that almost renamed the entire show. And I was basing the duster off of Vash the Stampede to begin with in that story. So I was not happy to see what they did to the duster.
Yeah.
And it's not only that they changed it into a winter coat, but that is like a woman's trench coat that he is wearing now.
It's not even a trench coat. It's literally a winter coat. It is the kind of thing that you would wrap around yourself if you were going outdoors in Antarctica. It has a zipper, and it's puffy, and it has no moving parts. If you zipped it around yourself, you would look like Cartman in winter gear.
Well, almost. My point is that unless I've been looking at it wrong, which I mean, I'm looking at it like, okay, so like, if I look at the Wikipedia page, the main image that it has for Vash the Stampede in the Trigun Stampede anime.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the giant collar that it has, the waist of that coat is a feminine cut.
Probably, yeah. I don't know enough about fashion to make that judgment, but it just does look really dumb, and it doesn't serve the purposes that it ought to serve, because it's not set up right.
Well, I mean, his whole look is just messed up. I mean, he already looks like a bit of a weakling compared to like what you would imagine this sort of monster would be that everyone's got this big bounty on. But like the original Vash the Stampede, they kind of joked once in a while saying like, oh, this guy doesn't look like much. And they everyone gets a little surprised once in a while when he's in a fight and he comes out the victor.
Yeah.
But when you actually look at the character of the original Vash the Stampede, two things stand out. One, when they wanted him to look tough, they made him look tough.
Yeah.
And two, he is not exactly non-intimidating if you get a glimpse of him.
No, he's
next
very
to the
tall,
other characters.
And he's very muscular, and he's not super muscular, but he has a very strong physique. Like the Vash in Stampede has like the really skinny legs where like he always skips leg day kind of look.
Yeah.
And like, he has that very thin waist. I mean, Vash in the original Trigun is not like a super muscular guy, but there are points where you see him without sleeves on, and you can see that he's got visible biceps, and his legs are relatively well muscled, and he doesn't wear super tight clothing because it would restrict his movement, kind of thing.
Yeah.
They completely took every element of Vash's design that made that some things that were just like aesthetic, and some things that actually were important, like the gun, and they systematically violated and killed every one of them. Like, for instance, his arm. The fact that he has a mechanical arm is something that you don't find out for 10 episodes in the original series. He just has like a black sleeve that goes along his arm, and he never uses it for anything but as a regular hand. There's never any hint that there's anything to it. Finally, in like episode 10 of the original series,
for all the viewer knows,
you get like 2 seconds of you get to see smoke rising from his left arm at a crucial moment where something weird happened, and it's not explained for another 2 episodes. That's the original series. In this series, the way that we meet Vash, really, is that he's hanging upside down from his feet because he was captured by the Bad Lad gang, which doesn't make any sense because they're a mobile gang that attacks
no.
sand stealers.
That's not entirely true. We get that whole scene at the beginning with him on a spaceship where you can clearly see his arms.
We're going to
and
forget
legs.
about that because that's just another
forget
monstrous
about that.
point.
Yeah,
for the moment, like it's a real thing that they do ruin all the mystery of the series early on. But the point, like the point.
No. Early on is not. No, they ruin all of the mystery of the series in that first 2 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they could have done such a better job, exactly like you said, just leaving that part out would have been better.
Of course. Because you need to build up to it. But again, we're going to compare original points, right? The first time you see Vash in the original series, he's been captured by some bandits, and they're going to, their plan is to bring him in. The first time you see Vash, current Vash, in Stampede, he's been captured, but the bandits all went away. Like, he still has a $6 million bounty on his head in Stampede. And like, the bandits caught him, they tied him up, they hung him from a thing by his feet, and then they left. And for some reason it was the Bad Lad gang, which again doesn't make sense, but that's alright because the Bad Lad gang is just a member berry that they throw at you to make sure that you remember that, hey, this is Trigun, remember? ? They violate them too.
This is Trigun.
The point is that we not only did they like capture him, but not bring him in for the bounty. Not only did they leave him alone with a couple of other people who were hanged and I guess have died of exposure, but also his arm is just mechanical from the very beginning. Like the first thing that I think De Niro says is, "Oh, his arm is lost technology," which is insane.
Because they don't tell you anything about what lost. They don't even mention lost technology till like the end of the original show.
They're inconsistent about what lost technology is like because you see scenes where Vash has like a holographic clock that's like in his room at the hotel kind of thing. Like there's all kinds of weird like the original Trigun had a fairly consistent kind of Western kind of early mid 1900s Western aesthetic. You had gramophones and curtains and everything was pretty low tech. There was occasional glimpses of tech of like the plants, but like people didn't really know much about the plants or what they were in general in the original series. But in Stampede, you get this weird mishmash where some of the stuff looks really old and then some of it looks super new and super high tech, and there's no real explanation about where the boundary is or where they got all this stuff. It's very inconsistent and like noticeably so, in the sense that if this were a book, you're reading Moby Dick, and all of a sudden there's a CD player in Moby Dick. It's like that.
Yeah, and I think just as another aside, Trigun doesn't get enough credit for how much more of a space western it really was than Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a sci-fi western, not a space western.
Well, it's a space age sci-fi thing. I mean, you know from like early on in the show that clearly there's some spacefaring going on here, but it's not much. And
it never really has much of an effect on the story in the time of the story that you're being shown. There's stuff that happened way in the past, and there's stuff that's happened partly in the past, and then there's a few vestiges of it here and there that are important to the story, but pretty much, everybody's kind of stuck on this desert world, and they've kind of lost most of the stuff that would have, hypothetically enabled them to get off the world and go find someplace better. And that's part of the setting. It's important because that's another thing that they systematically violate and kill in this story is the way that the Seeds ships ended up on this planet is I can't remember. Did they ruin that in the first episode or not yet?
Oh yeah, they did.
Because there's a point there where it's very important. Because I need to focus down on this for a minute because this is super important. In the original Trigun, here's the series of events that happens. Things are going bad. All the ships have been diverted to basically crash themselves into the surface of this planet. Now, Rem save Rem. Vash and Knives' guardian character, and a major role model for Vash in the original series. A mother figure for both of them. She puts them into an escape pod and sends them off. And the escape pod goes off, and she has a line where she tells Vash to take care of Knives, and they go off. There's a cut. They go off. They exit the ship. There's another period of time. There's another cut. Vash is looking at a TV screen, and the ship on the screen is the Seeds ship that Rem was on. And that ship is burning up in the atmosphere and finally explodes in the original series. So, Rem puts them in the thing, time passes, ship explodes, right? How do they do it in Stampede? Same basic setup. She puts them both in the escape pod, tells them she's going to stay behind to try to fix things. But we get a continuous shot of the door closing, them jetting outward from the ship, and we see the explosion engulf Rem save Rem in one continuous cut that suggests, in fact, states that she just died in an explosion before they even got off the ship. And then they still have the gall to say that she's the one that had time to change, to re-divert the ships so that some of them would land safely. This scene, this is a thing that happens.
No, she died instantly. You saw her die instantly. She would have done that before that happened.
Correct. But she didn't, because clearly she got them onto the escape pod first.
Ugh.
It is, I saw that scene, and I believe I yelled, "What the fuck?" Because they literally have her engulfed in flames in one continuous shot as they're leaving the ship. And I'm pretty sure there was at least one cut in the original series between them getting into the thing and the ship exploding. And as I rewatched it in the last couple of days, yes, indeed. There's a scene of them, of their pod escaping the ship. There's another scene, there's another establishing shot that shows a bunch of these ships kind of starting to fall into the gravitational pull of the planet. And then there's another cut, and there's a scene of Vash watching a screen on the ship, the little pod that they're on. They are very, very far from the ship, and they're not moving very fast. The ship is remaining relatively constant in size on the screen. And so they're so far away from it that their speed is negligible compared to the distance that they've traveled in the time since they left. And they're in space, so there's nothing to slow them down. They're going still exactly as fast as they were when they left the ship. So there's been some time passing. And then you see the ship explode. And by the way, the ship in the original series explodes because it's burning up in the atmosphere. In Trigun Stampede, for some reason, when Knives diverted ships to crash into the planet, the ships also started kind of blowing up on their own before they even get into the atmosphere as well. Because as they jet out, first off, we see Rem save Rem get engulfed in flames. And second off, as they're leaving, we see explosions popping up on the ship as their pod flies out. And so that doesn't make any sense either.
It is pretty amazing to me that
it is foul. It is.
He cries foul, and he is not wrong.
It is the scent of sewer water. It is. I can't even, I exclaimed in anger when I saw Rem save Rem be engulfed by flames. I'm like, now you can't have her do this. And then they still had her do the thing. It makes no sense.
Maybe we don't deserve space.
I mean, that's what this show is trying to teach us. Because the whole theme of Trigun was a theme of redemption. That, for instance, humanity is trying to redeem itself by going out into space and not making the same mistakes it made that harmed Earth's environment. Great. Redemption. Vash the Stampede has an arc where he does something that he thought that he considers something that he should never have done, and yet he finds redemption. Wolfwood is a character who's lived his entire life based on one type of philosophy and making the best choice that he can as quickly as he can and damn the consequences. And he has a redemption arc where where it's even a double redemption arc, because he does the right thing, it goes poorly for him, he wonders if he really did the right thing, and then he agrees that he did the right thing. It's amazing in the original series. It's incredibly good. And in this series, All right,
hang on, because now we're coming up against a we're coming up against a big moment here. I just have to ready myself for just how bad they treated Wolfwood in this show, because I know they did.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they did. They did him dirty.
Tell me all about it.
Let me finish my sentence first, because the theme of redemption that is super duper important and present in the original Trigun is completely destroyed in this series, because no one ever seeks redemption. No one ever does anything that requires them to seek redemption. Wolfwood does not do anything to seek redemption. Vash doesn't... Oh, God.
Does Vash do the thing that causes him to have to seek redemption in this one?
No.
Or do they just make him completely
No, it's so much
infallible?
worse. Because, okay, in the original series, there's a guy. His name is Legato Blue Summers. And he has...
What do you mean in the original series? Do you mean he's not in this one?
Oh, he's in this one. But
Okay.
they violated and killed him too.
Yes. Well,
Because the whole second half of the original series of Trigun is basically Legato Blue Summers, who has the ability to control people. He can make them do whatever he wants. Large groups of people. It's an extremely overpowered power. But the reason that it's not overpowered in the original series is because he is incredibly loyal to Knives. And Knives wants him to use this power for one purpose and one purpose only. To make Vash suffer and to make Vash kill someone of his own free will. And so you have this constant escalation of Legato Blue Summers doing something to try to force Vash to kill someone. He throws someone at him who he thinks Vash will have to kill them, or Vash will himself die. He forces a bunch of people to, exit towns, and then creates a situation where, Vash needs to do this thing that involves killing someone, or else these people are all going to die. He makes, in the end, his final thing that you can tell that even Blue Summers feels bad about going to this extent, is that he forces Vash's hand, holding Vash's gun, to point blank at his head as a bunch of people whom he is controlling start to do horrible things to Meryl and Millie. And at that point, Vash, he hears them both scream, and Vash pulls the trigger of his own free will. And that is the sin that nearly breaks his character, that he has to get through in order to seek redemption later on to finish the series. In Stampede, what happens is this. Knives creates a series of events that causes Vash to have to fire off one of his energy blasts. And then he fights with Vash to get Vash to... He fights pulling Vash's arm so that Vash will shoot either innocent people or Knives when that blast goes off. In the end, Vash manages to get free and fires the energy blast off into space. And Knives' answer to this is to freakishly dash into the energy beam and then claim, "A la CDI Legend of Zelda, you've killed me."
what?
Yeah, that's the thing that happens at the end of the series.
What the devil?
Legato Blue Summers is...
No, I never want to see the end of it, because the image I have of how that all played out in my head is so much funnier than that itself could possibly ever be. And I feel like it would just spoil it. It's like, ha-ha, jump in front of beam.
That is exactly what happens. He jumps in front of a beam and screams, "You've killed me."
Alas, poor Yorick.
So, and let me also note at this point that they violated and killed Legato Blue Summers, as far as I can tell. Because number one, okay, in the original series, Legato Blue Summers was quiet. He was, like, almost unsettlingly handsome. He was soft-spoken. He never moved more than he really needed to get his job done. He was incredibly terrifying with the things that he could do with your perception of reality around you. Legato Blue Summers in the original series is terrifying. He's one of the most incredible villains in any anime.
Well,
he's perfect.
In this particular anime, he is easily the most dangerous person in that universe.
He's only not dangerous because of his loyalty to Knives and Knives putting handcuffs on him. That's the only reason he's not as dangerous as he would be. Okay, Trigun Stampede. Oh, by the way, in the original series, Blue Summers has this hair, which is kind of like a gunmetal gray. There's a little bit of blue in it, but at no point do you say, oh, he has blue hair. Now, in Stampede, they converted his hair color to neon, nose ring feminist blue. They screwed up his haircut to give him a bowl cut, or what looks like a bowl cut. They gave him his control abilities, but in order to do his control abilities, he has to do funky, goofy motions with his arm. Like, like...
Oh, so it's
like
on a timer now. It wasn't just, I can
do
this
it's
anytime.
It's like, you know how, like, people who have, second grader syndrome will make their hand do funny things and say, oh no, the power threatens to consume me?
Yeah.
He does that, and that's what he has to do while he's controlling people. He has to do the funny finger movements with his hand tensed up. Then they make it so that everybody makes fun of his blue hair, and he talks back and says, "Don't make fun of my blue hair," in a very passive-aggressive way. And then, instead of him being a major villain throughout the series, they have him get into a car crash halfway through the show and vanish. And you never see him again.
No, I'm going with it. I'm speechless. I am speechless. I just want to make sure I heard you correctly and I wasn't having a stroke.
Yeah.
Legato Blue Summers.
Yeah.
Veritable god in the original anime.
Yeah.
An unstoppable force, as you said, shackled only by knives.
Yes.
Is taken out by a little bit of a roadside incident and never
They don't
heard
even
from
get into
again.
a crash, really. There's a rock that falls in front of them, and then they break, and they do the little J-turn thing, and then you never see Legato Blue Summers again.
And does this happen for a reason?
Nope.
It's not like a trap or something that
Nope.
like Knives put up because he was, I don't know, sick of Legato's blue hair or...
Nope.
So it's, I don't know, that might actually be the worst afterthought character death that I've ever heard of.
I don't think it's a death. I just think they forgot about him. All right, everybody, we're going to call it there for this week. We went for nearly 3 hours talking about this, and so I'm going to split it up into 3 episodes. So, yeah, tune in next week for some more fun discussion of how Trigun Stampede systematically violated and ruined everything that made the original Trigun good. As always, I'm Rudy, and Justin's not here to record this, so we'll just assume he says I'm Justin. And, see you next week with some more Trigun Stampede shenanigans.
Thanks for listening to the Wordy Pair Podcast. Our passion is all things writing, world building, and getting into the weird and wonderful world of fiction. We hope you enjoyed our unique takes. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to get your weekly dose of writing weirdness. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit us up on Twitter. For Rudy, it's @Rudolph_Cone. And for Justin, @Ninja Mouse Chew. See you next time on the Wordy Pair Podcast.